No right, sir, to stop me. I won't be stopped." "Or have you got them with you?" "I shall answer no questions. You have no right to treat me in this way." "Then I shall be forced, on behalf of the family, to obtain a search warrant both here and in Ayrshire, and proceedings will be taken also against your ladyship personally." So saying, Mr. Camperdown withdrew, and at last the carriage was driven on. As it happened, there was time enough for catching the train, and to spare. The whole affair in Mount Street had taken less than 10 minutes, but the effect upon Lizzie was very severe. For a while she could not speak, and at last she burst out into hysteric tears, not a sham fit, but a true convulsive agony of sobbing. All the world of Mount Street, including her own servants, had heard the accusation against her. During the whole morning she had been wishing that she had never seen the diamonds, but now it was almost impossible that she should part with them. And yet they were like a load upon her chest, a load as heavy as though she were compelled to sit with the iron box on her lap day and night. In her sobbing she felt the thing under her feet, and knew that she could not get rid of it. She hated the box, and yet she must cling to it now. She was thoroughly ashamed of the box, and yet she must seem to take a pride in it. She was horribly afraid of the box, and yet she must keep it in her own very bedroom. And what should she say about the box now to Miss Macnulty, who sat by her side, stiff and scornful, offering her smelling bottles, but not offering her sympathy? "My dear," she said at last, "that horrid man has quite upset me." "I don't wonder that you should be upset," said Miss Macnulty. "And so unjust, too, so false, so they are my own as much as that umbrella is yours, Miss Macnulty." "I don't know," said Miss Macnulty. "But I tell you," said Lizzie. "What I mean is, that it is such a pity there should be a doubt." "There is no doubt," said Lizzie. "How dare you say there is a doubt? My cousin, Mr. Greystock, says that there is not the slightest doubt. He is a barrister, and must know better than an attorney like Mr. Camperdown." By this time they were at the Euston Square station, and then there was more trouble with the box. The footman struggled with it into the waiting room, and the porter struggled with it from the waiting room to the carriage. Lizzie could not but look at the porter as he carried it, and she felt sure that the man had been told of its contents, and was struggling with the express view of adding to her annoyance. The same thing happened at Carlisle, where the box was carried up into Lizzie's bedroom by the footman, and where she was convinced that her treasure had become the subject of conversation for the whole house. In the morning people looked at her as she walked down the long platform with the box still struggling before her. She almost wished that she had undertaken its carriage herself, as she thought that even she could have managed with less outward show of effort. Her own servants seemed to be in league against her, and Miss Macnulty had never before been so generally unpleasant. Poor Miss Macnulty, who had a conscientious idea of doing her duty, and who always attempted to give an adequate return for the bread she ate, could not so far overcome the effect of Mr. Camperdown's visit as to speak on any subject without being stiff and hard. And she suffered too from the box, to such a degree that she turned over in her mind the thought of leaving Lizzie, if any other possible home might be found for her. Who would willingly live with a woman who always travelled about with a diamond necklace worth £10,000 locked up in an iron safe, and that necklace not her own property? But at last Lady Eustace, and Miss Macnulty, and the servants, and the iron box, reached Portray Castle in safety. End of Chapter 20. Recording by Laura Koskinen.